Welcome to The Explainer. If you've ever had this amazing, brilliant idea for a stage play, but felt completely paralyzed by the thought of actually starting it, well, you are exactly in the right place. Today, we're diving into a complete, step-by-step toolkit from our source material that makes getting your story onto the stage so much more accessible than you might think.
But right off the bat, let me ask you something. Do you think you need to buy expensive, top-tier screenwriting software just to write a stage play? Because it's a super common assumption. People think they need to drop hundreds of dollars on fancy programs to even get started. Well, I have some fantastic news for you. You probably don't need to spend a single dime. In fact, you very likely already have absolutely everything you need sitting right there on your laptop.
Okay, so here's our roadmap for today. We're going to quickly walk through 5 distinct tools to kickstart this journey for you. The Stage Play Blueprint, choosing your writing software, utilizing an AI playwriting assistant, adapting existing stories, and finally, where to read free plays.
All right, let's jump right into tool number 1, the Stage Play Blueprint, specifically looking at formatting for the stage.
So before we even touch any software, we really have to wrap our heads around the format itself. Writing for the stage requires a pretty massive mental shift if you're used to movies or TV. Think of it like this. A screenplay is basically a blueprint for a camera, right? But a stage play, that's a blueprint for the stage. It sounds really obvious, but literally everything flows from that one fact. While a screenplay will open with a heading looking through a camera lens, like, interior kitchen night, a stage play actually describes the physical set directly to the live audience. You're telling the reader what the world looks like from a physical seat in the theater. That's exactly why stage plays often start with the phrase "at rise," because you're literally describing what the audience sees the second the stage lights come up.
Now, there are a few accepted formatting styles in the theater world. Maybe you've seen that older typewriter style or the more modern margin-to-margin look, but honestly, the core bones are always exactly the same. You're going to need a title page, followed by a cast list that has some brief character descriptions. And unlike movies where scenes just flow continuously one after the other, stage plays actually start every new act and scene on a brand new, fresh page. Also, you don't cut to a new scene. Your scenes end on specific stage cues, things like lights down or curtain. For the actual dialogue, the character's name goes in all caps, and those stage directions are set inside parentheses and usually italicized. Oh, and here is a fantastic rule of thumb to keep in your back pocket. Just like in screenplays, one properly formatted page roughly equals about 1 minute of stage time. Stick to these consistent bones, and your script will be perfectly readable for any producer out there.
Moving right along to tool number 2, choosing your writing software. Let's talk about your digital toolkit.
Okay, now that you know what a play is supposed to look like, what digital tools actually make sense for your budget and your personal workflow? The really crucial takeaway here is that you have fantastic options at literally every price point. If you happen to already own Final Draft, awesome, use it. It's the expensive industry standard for sure, but it does have a built-in stage play template you can just click on and go. Now, if you want dedicated script software, but you really don't want that massive price tag, Fade In is what I'd call the smart money pick. It's super stable, and it can even read Final Draft files. If you happen to be a novelist or just someone who loves outlining and keeping research right next to your draft, Scrivener offers a really great stage play mode at a moderate price. But listen, if you are on a strict budget, Microsoft Word or Google Docs are 100% valid. I mean, you already own them. You just spend a few minutes setting up your margin and font styles one time, and boom, you have a totally free, professional, ready-to-submit format.
All right, tool number 3, the AI playwriting assistant, focusing on ideation and drafting.
Let's be honest, blank page syndrome is incredibly real. But modern chatbots, think ChatGPT, Gemini, or Claude, they can brilliantly help you get over that initial hump and start ideating. The key here is you don't want the AI to write the play for you, you're just using it as a creative collaborator. Just follow these 4 simple steps. First, set your purpose. Are you writing, say, a Reader's Theater script to explain a historical event, or maybe a science concept? Second, you've got to craft a really detailed prompt. For instance, you could tell the chatbot, create a script for elementary students explaining the water cycle and make sure you include specific character roles for the sun, water vapor, rain, and snow. Third, review the output it gives you. Does it actually hit your educational objectives? Is the tone age-appropriate? If it's not quite right, just prompt it again to tweak things, maybe add some specific vocabulary words. And finally, step 4, take that text, drop it into Google Docs, and edit and format it yourself using those stage guidelines we literally just talked about.
Up next is tool number 4, adapting existing stories. We're going to dive into something called the scissors technique.
I absolutely love adaptation because it is arguably the single best shortcut for beginners.
You don't have to stress about inventing a plot totally from scratch just to practice writing for the stage. You can take existing folktales, poems, or short stories and use this brilliant scissors technique. Basically, you grab a physical marker and you highlight every single piece of dialogue in your chosen story. Whatever's left over, that's your narration. Now here's where it gets fun. Actively start stripping away the fluff. Chop out those redundant dialogue tags. Your live actors definitely don't need to say the words "said the elves" out loud on stage, right? Cut out physical actions that the actors can just easily mime instead, like putting their hands on their heads. Slash any lines that don't directly push the plot or the visual imagery forward. Then, take whatever narration is actually left over and assign it creatively, maybe to a dedicated narrator, or maybe even divvy it up among the characters themselves. Doing this actively forces you to deeply comprehend the story's structure, and it leaves you with a tight, incredibly performable script.
Now, as you're adapting that script, you're inevitably going to need to write some stage directions. And picking up just a little bit of basic terminology completely transforms your plain text into a true, living, theatrical experience. It's kind of like learning a secret language. For example, knowing the term blocking gives you the vocabulary to direct the actual physical positions and movements of your actors around the stage. Or understanding a concept like offstage focus, which is where the actors look up at a fixed imagined spot out above the audience instead of staring directly at each other, that is absolutely crucial if you're setting up a traditional reader's theater. Mastering just a handful of these terms essentially gives you the superpower to direct the action right there on the page.
And that kind of flexibility totally extends to how you formate different specific types of theatrical reading, too. Take chamber theater, for example. In this format, the lines are completely memorized, you don't ordinarily see scripts being held on stage, and the narrator actually uses audience focus, while the characters use on-stage focus. The big takeaway here is that theater isn't rigid. It's incredibly flexible. Once you understand the baseline rules, you can completely adapt your formatting and your staging to fit exactly what your specific story needs.
And that brings us to our final tool, number 5, where to read free plays. Or, as I like to say, where to study the masters.
Look, if you really want to internalize the natural rhythm of stage dialogue and get comfortable with all that formatting, the absolute best thing you can do is read professionally formatted plays, period. And I've got you covered with a fantastic list of resources where you can go download scripts right this second, entirely for free. First up is Simply Scripts, which is just this massive database for movies, TV, and stage plays. Then there's ProPlay, which is excellent if you're looking to read high-quality professional stage scripts. Lazy Bee Scripts is wonderfully categorized. You can dig through everything from quick, punchy 10-minute one-acts to full-blown murder mysteries and pantomimes. And finally, if you want to study the absolute bedrock of all theatrical structure, check out the Folger Shakespeare Library. You can download and read all the classics like Julius Caesar completely free. Honestly, just go download a few of these today and see how the masters make it look on the page.
Before we wrap things up today, I really want to leave you with this one core thought. The most important thing is to write. Find the tool that works best for you. Please, whatever you do, don't let anxiety over whether you should be using Microsoft Word or dropping cash on Final Draft stop you from actually creating. The software you use or getting the margin inches perfectly right on your first draft. That is all secondary to the physical act of writing itself. Just sit down and get the words out.
So, here's what it all boils down to. You now have the actual formatting blueprint in your head. You know exactly what software you can start using today for free. You have modern AI techniques to brainstorm, and you've got those awesome adaptation shortcuts to skip the blank page entirely. So, what story are you going to bring to the stage today? Seriously, I challenge you to open up a blank document right now, type the words @rise, and just start writing. Thank you so much for hanging out and joining me on The Explainer today, and happy writing!